right? And this has actually been going on for about, I would say, the last year and a half to 2 years, right? There was a midway point during Trump's presidency where I started seeing, this is just me and my own viewpoint. I started seeing a push that you started seeing more and more black conservatives, right? Males, because women are always going to vote left until they're married, and then they vote right. In
Or
general,
until they think there's a very serious threat,
correct.
right?
Yeah, if yeah,
Right.
exactly. Like
That's Bush in '04 in the middle of the
correct.
war on terror. But yeah, but
Yeah.
otherwise, I
If
agree
they
with
feel that
you.
their
Yeah,
safety is threatened, yes, they will vote. Like, oh my God, keep me safe. So one of the things I've
absolutely.
noticed is I don't know if you heard this whole thing with the Ice Cube controversy, right? Where
Yeah.
they're trying to cancel Ice Cube, and it goes to show you. So the way that this works, and I've told you about the I don't even like calling it a black community because it's basically just a matriarchal shit show. And what happens is if you go against the matriarchy, right? You're basically canceled, right? They call you a sellout, a coon, or whatever, right? So when
Yeah.
Ice Cube comes out there and he makes this pro Trump statement, and Trump starts talking about the platinum plan, right? And so they're actually putting tangibles on the table. You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
What ends
Yeah.
up happening is I have noticed more than you would think, black dudes who are pushing way over to the right. Dudes that would have never voted for Trump
That's
4 years ago.
that's
Never.
devastating for the Democrats if that's a trend.
Did you ever see the Tim Pool video on that?
Huh?
There's an actual percent. It's I think I want to say it's like 8%. If any of you guys in the chat, I'm looking over the chat now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, someone said 50 Cent too. Yeah, I saw that. There was a Tim Pool did a video on this. It was before the pandemic, right? He
Yeah.
did a video that said like Democrats were noticing more and more blacks, especially black males, were leaning toward conservative, right? And they said something like the percentage it's 8%. Once they shift, it's that small little bit, like it's just like when someone says a
Yeah. But
swing. Now they can always import voters. You see what I'm saying?
sure. Yeah.
So that's going to be the flip side of that.
Well, the thing about the fraud thing is who knows? And I'll be honest, man, I'm tired of hearing about voter fraud because,
Yep.
you know, we've always had to win outside the margin of fraud. Okay.
Hmm.
Maybe that margin is a little higher this time, but at the end of the day, griping about it ain't going to do any good.
Hmm.
Drexel, so I have several black conservative friends, and
Hmm.
I've always tried not to do the whole, hey, would you speak for your entire race?
Yep.
But I am genuinely curious. Do you think those? Do you think that that's a credible? Those
It's very
reports are
credible.
credible?
It
Okay,
is. And I've like I said, and I've talked to dudes from different walks, right? Like, cause
man. Yeah,
one of
sure,
the things I've
sure.
noticed is one of the problems with a lot of these polls is they'll look at one aspect, one variable of a demographic, right? And they'll
Uh-huh.
say, "Hey, we poll black men ages X to Y, but in Chicago." You see what I'm saying? In the heart of a
Well,
matriarchy.
it's the same point we were talking about earlier,
Yeah,
right?
earlier about like
You
where they
know,
get these, because the
where you
area
poll them
where
is
it matters. It really
yeah,
does. So what
agreed.
I've noticed is I'm starting to see more and more black dudes, and here's what's funny: a lot of black dudes who used to be far left, right? So what ended up happening is it took time. So what ended up happening is, imagine being
Sure,
a black youth, right? You grew up in one of these Democrat-run cities, right?
right.
Baltimore, Chicago, anywhere in California, right? You started noticing Minneapolis. You start kind of looking around. You're like, what? Okay, when I have voted the way I was told to vote because the matriarchy demanded it, right? What
And I'm still
happened to
living
me?
in a shithole.
And I still live in a shithole
Right.
after this.
Yeah.
This is the third time I voted the way I voted. I voted true blue for 12 straight years. They go, what does my life look like? Right? They start looking
Mhm.
around. They're like, and this is a male trait. What do the lives of other people who look like me look
Yeah.
like? Because a woman just like this, am I winning?
Right.
They will always have the hive mindset of, hey, well, as long as it's for the woman, it's good. Whereas dudes go like this. Hold on. What are these people pushing for? So if you start to look, you go, okay, let me get this straight. They're cheering for an abortion rally, right? That's worth rallying for, right? But you look around, you go, the fuck? You know what I don't see, Ty? I don't see
Mhm.
anybody trying to get fathers in the home, right? The nuclear family. So it
No,
takes a
well,
while for the dudes to start kind of looking at it going, did my mom tell me the truth or did she lead me astray? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Drexel, that's not anything unique to the black community or any
Absolutely
other.
not.
I had family members. I remember in the '80s when Ronald Reagan was running. I had family members that voted Democrat yet agreed with Ronald Reagan completely,
Yep.
because they had voted Democrat their entire lives. They could remember FDR. They could, and I remember, of course, I was college age then, so of course I knew everything. I
Yep.
don't know about you, but I literally knew everything when I was
Of
in
course. Of course.
college. And I remember arguing with them and coming back just shaking my head, going, "What the hell's wrong with them?"
It's the programming.
But it's the programming,
It's the
yeah.
programming.
So uh, let me tell you, I made a post on Facebook about 2 weeks ago, and I said I'm going to make one appeal to the black community. Sorry for using that word, but
You can use it. I
I'm
don't
a,
give a damn.
I'm going to make I'll make one appeal. I said, Republicans have not always been sensitive to the issues that are important to the African American community, and certainly our policies haven't always aligned with the interests of the African American community. But here's the thing: we never took you for granted. We never promised you, made you promises we had no intention of delivering on,
Hmm.
and we never used you to further an agenda that you didn't sign on for.
Correct.
So here's the thing: there's a huge difference between being kicked and being tripped over.
Hmm.
We might have tripped over you, but we did not stab you in the back and use you.
Yep.
So you might want to give us a chance.
Well,
You
one
know,
of the things that I think where a lot of the conservatives can really kind of take hold right now is that with the cities burning right after the George Floyd thing,
yeah,
this is where if I were a conservative leader, what I would do is go like this. I would use this as an opportunity to go like this. The worst of it we saw in blue cities, right? So to combat that, remember a lot of the police, like I know lots of cops and those guys, COs, things like that, right? They usually are right leaning,
yeah,
police unions and all that, right? Prisons, corrections. So what you should do is, if you are a conservative leader, you want to use what happened with this summer, which became a total shit show after the George
it
Floyd thing,
did.
right?
Agreed.
But use it to go like this: we do need police reform, but we also need citizen reform. So
Yeah,
this is a chance to like literally bring both sides together to collapse onto the left's overwhelming policies that have incarcerated black men and kept black men out of the family and aborted millions of black babies.
yeah.
So this is their chance. Like I think the
I
right
think you're
usually
right. I
they
think there's an
bumble it.
opportunity.
Absolutely. But they do you know what I think they get caught up in? They allow themselves to get caught up in, well, my base says this and I gotta kind of lean, and that's why it always becomes
Yeah,
racial, right, when it doesn't need
right.
to. Where if you like this, if you started viewing people as a resource, as an asset, you would go like this. Like you said, have these people done shit for you, right? And if the answer is no, you go like this. Here's what